Hello and welcome to the Main Cave. Now in today's video I'm going to be showing you this. It's a belt that vibrates in time with your music, movie or games. I know, right? Sounds like a bit of a want more than a need, but bear with me. Well, it's called the Woojer Strap 3 and it got released very recently. I pre-ordered this back in November of 22 and it arrived on my doorstep, as they'd say, in mid-December. I've been using it now for a few days solidly and I want to share you with my experiences and answer the question, is a Bluetooth vibrating belt with RGB worth what I paid of £160? Now before we get into the details, there's also a vibrating vest available from Woojer. Now this does look amazing, but at £455 it was a bit of a stretch. So I settled on the more modestly priced Strap 3 and here it is. Once it arrived, I promptly unboxed it, and in the modestly sized package you get the strap itself, some paperwork, a USB-C cable and a nice velvetishy feel drawstring bag. You'll see that on a lot of the connections need a 3.5mm cable, so initially I didn't really see a problem, but for the price that I paid, I'd have at least seen at least one, if not two 3.5mm cables included. But as it is, you need to supply these yourself. When you get it out of the box, the Woojer itself is very well built. It feels premium and it looks great. The strap itself is of great quality and extends to a maximum of 1 metre 6 centimetres. So if your chest or waist is larger than that, it may be an uncomfortable fit. Personally, I'd like to have seen it a bit longer. Even when it was over my shoulder, it felt like it was a bit too near my throat, so I was constantly adjusting it to move it down towards my chest. And also the strap has a nice connector for easily taking it on and off. On the top of the unit is a power and Bluetooth button with corresponding LEDs. On the bottom is a 3.5mm in port, a USB-C in and charging port, and then a 3.5mm headphone port. On the front of the Woojer, the logo is circumnavigated by a beautiful Rgb ring that can be customised in the app, but more on that later. So the front ring here can screw off and you can buy different coloured rings and straps online for £27 each. They initially sell the Woojer in the black or white, so take your pick and add a different colour if that's for you. Also on the front within the ring are some physical controls up and down in the intensity of vibration, which in the increments of 1, 0 through 10, and volume up and down with increments of 10, 0 through 100. Once I got it out, I went to set it up, but being a new device, the app wasn't released till the next day. So back in its box it went. 24 hours later, I downloaded the Woojer app from the App Store and fired it up. Once the app's open, it talks you through the setup process. This took me a couple of attempts as my Woojer didn't seem to connect and find it in Bluetooth, but I got there in time, and even in the Bluetooth settings it appears as Woojer. Nevertheless, I was connected to my phone, and here in the app on the home screen you can see what you are connected to. If you don't connect the Woojer to the app, you have the physical controls on the device itself, as we've talked about, but in the app you can have that if you need to. Also in the app there are some extra features. Here you can see the battery levels, charging indication, latency, volume and vibration intensity. Then dig a bit deeper and you can also change the RGB, things like brightness, colours, patterns, etc. So speaking of the battery level, then it says about 2 hours to charge, which is about right when I plugged it directly into the wall, and it's enough for 8 hours, which I found was a bit too much from what I was getting, but then I was using on high intense sessions a lot of the time. Now, it's probably time I tell you how this works, as it may not be 100% clear from their marketing. Basically, you need two things, an input and an output. The input sends sound into the Woojer. The output, obviously, is something that outputs the sound. So inputs are either any Bluetooth device that sends sound or any device that sends sound via 3.5mm or USB. For example, your phone or your tablet. Outputs are either Bluetooth headphones or anything that accepts 3.5mm. For Bluetooth devices, you just set these up in the app, and so far I have 3 pairs stored already. So the idea is the Woojer strap is in the middle of your sound, converting the sounds into vibration. An example setup is having the Woojer taking in music from your mobile, converting that sound into the vibrations, then outputting the sound via the Bluetooth headphones. This would be the 100% wireless solution. And I know what you're thinking, is lag an issue? Well, in my testing on the PS5 using Bluetooth headphones in an FPS game, tweaking within the app, I got lag down to the bare minimum. If you are getting lag, the first thing to check is probably your headphones. Just make sure they're relatively recent and using an up-to-date Bluetooth version. Then into the app, change the latency to tweak it to what you need. I got it down to it was perfectly acceptable with what I was hearing. For me, I wanted to use this with my PS5, PC, Steam Deck, Nintendo Switch and Oculus Quest, preferably wireless, and this is how I got on. So we can bundle together the Steam Deck, Switch and PC as the experience was pretty much identical, For 100% wireless experience, all you do is go into the Bluetooth settings on either device and add the Woojer. Then into the app, and if you haven't already, add some Bluetooth headphones. Then once they're connected, you're good to go. You can also use wired headphones, just plug them into the headphone port on the Woojer itself. The only issue I came across was that you need to be using headphones to hear and feel what's going on. There is a way of routing the audio from your PC to 2 different sources, but I couldn't get this to work, but Google tells me it's possible, so it's possibly user error. For the Steam Deck and Switch, you need headphones to hear what's going on, whether Bluetooth or wired. One way around this is using a Bluetooth speaker maybe, but for handheld gaming out and about, this is one step too far for me. Now onto the PS5, and it's a little bit different. You can't add the Woojer as a Bluetooth audio device in the settings, so the sound needs to come from somewhere else, and that is via the controller. You need a 3.5mm cable plugged into your controller and the other end into the in port of the Woojer. Then you need to either connect some Bluetooth headphones via the mobile app or another 3.5mm cable from the Woojer to your headphones, or again a Bluetooth speaker. Finally, the Oculus Quest 2, and although this is very similar to the PC's way of doing things, I wanted to give out a shout to the way that I've been using it, and that is 100% wired. I didn't have a problem using a 3.5mm cable from the Quest down to the Woojer, then from the Woojer to the headphones. Having 2 wires didn't really detract from the experience. What will detract those if you aren't wearing any headphones while playing VR, you can't have a Woojer connected and use the internal speakers. So once we've set it up and playing it how we like, how does it feel? Well, first impressions are fantastic. There are several layers of vibration that all feel very different. Large booming sounds hit you with a thud, and the high trills are represented by an almost tingling sensation. It really is great to use. I found myself using it only really for a few minutes on a road before taking it off, as it does become quite intense, constantly being battered by hits. I wore this around my waist, chest and back, and found it across my chest to be the most impactful. Other than gaming, I also used it while listening to music in bed. I turned the intensity right down, and though it did a fantastic job at helping me relax with subtle taps here and there in time with the music, I enjoyed this even more than the intense shattering hits of gaming. The strap is comfy, the unit felt never heavy or uncomfortable, the inclusion of Rgb Ring makes it look really cool. I haven't been brave enough to wear this out and about as yet, but if I do, I'll probably wear this under a shirt till I get more confident of passers-by pointing that I have some coloured device strapped to my chest. So is it worth the money? £160 is a lot for an item that is a want more than a need. The pros are that it looks cool, the vibration is fantastic, and there's plenty of options, albeit Bluetooth and wired. The cons are that it's expensive. So can I see myself using this in the months ahead? For listening to music and the PS5 gaming? Well, I'll probably use it occasionally, but if I'm honest, what I use this for more is in VR. If you're into VR in a big way and use it daily, I'd seriously consider this or the Vest, as it really helps the immersion of VR. Absolutely loved being able to play Beat Saber with each block tinging me every time. It was truly fantastic. So let me know then, is this something you've seen before and you've thought about? Will you be picking one up? Let me know in the comments below. So that's been my look at the Woojer Strap 3. Till the next video. Bye bye.